Well, welcome everyone to the Colorado Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association Lunch and Learn webinar, the Automated Weeder Series. This is Moving Cultivators, featuring FarmWise and Stout Ag Tech. I'm Adrian Card, State Specialist in Produce with Colorado State University Extension and founding board member of the Colorado Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association. I'll be your host for today's webinar. This webinar is produced in collaboration with CFEGA and will feature the two leading U.S. companies in automated vegetable weeders, FarmWise and Stout Ag Tech. These automated weeders use AI optics to differentiate between weed and crop and then move actuating cultivators in row and between rows of vegetables to achieve 60 to nearly 100% weed kill through this mechanical weed control strategy. And this is based on research from UC Davis. These are all tractor 3-point hitch machines that we're featuring today. Of note, 2021 CSU, Colorado State University survey data showed that Colorado produce growers would seek mechanization and automation solutions as their first choice if labor recruitment, retention, and affordability conditions did not improve. CFEGA is the go-to resource for Colorado's fresh fruit and vegetable farmers. We connect Colorado growers with industry, government, academia, and consumers to strengthen and expand Colorado fresh fruit and vegetable production. Learn more at our website and social media channels. CFEGA is made possible by sponsors and wants to acknowledge and thank those sponsors today. Here are a few of the platinum sponsors, gold sponsors, and silver sponsors. Learn more about these vendors and the products and services they offer growers at the Grower tab on the CFEGA website. We will utilize the Q&A box today, so feel free to type those questions in. We'll answer those at the end of the presentations today, and we'll have a poll at the very end too to look at educational outcomes. Our presenters today are Todd Rickenburger and Brent Shedd. Todd is the VP of Sales at FarmWise and is an agricultural executive with demonstrated results in developing markets, commercializing new products and concepts, and creating innovative solutions for farmers. Todd's experience touches irrigation, automation, and robotics. Additionally, he brings a wealth of experience in operational strategies that align organizations around customer success. Following Todd will be Brent. He's the CEO of Stout Ag Technologies and is a serial founder and CEO with a passion for disruptive technologies that impact the future of work, building AI-enabled solutions for agriculture that help growers generate better yields with fewer risks. And with that, Todd, I'll pass over to you.
A whole lot of clicks to get this done here.
I know, right? The Zoom do-si-do.
Yeah, we're there now. So good morning, and thank you, Adrian, for the opportunity to be part of this series and to just chat a little bit about what we do at FarmWise. And I'm just going to kind of jump into a presentation I put together to chat about what we do as a company. So on the first screen here is a picture of our product Vulcan that we actually just launched about 3 months ago at the World Ag Expo in Tulare. So it's a culmination of 5 years of field work that we've done running our own service-based weeding business with the predecessor, which is a product called Titan. So again, this is Vulcan. This is kind of the next generation product that we're putting into the marketplace at this point in time. And I think one of the things I always like to do, because when you think about robotic precision weeding and weed control, it sounds really cool and interesting, but I think pictures really tell the whole story. So I've got just a really quick video here that shows, this is actually our Titan product working in a romaine field, but you can see the speed and precision associated with what we're able to do with the image capture system, the machine learning associated with that, and then the actuation that we do very precisely. So again, this is just a quick picture of the actual end result of what we actually do in terms of field activity. If you look at what we're approaching with our Vulcan product, my apologies for my voice, I'm recovering from just losing it for last week or so. You kind of look at Vulcan as a product, and I'll show some more images of it in the future as we go through this presentation. Kind of look at Vulcan as our next generation product is being proven. We run for multiple years a service-based business with our own operators, serving growers in the Salinas Valley and in the Yuma, Arizona market as well, basically weeding the leafy vegetables in that high density, high labor cost market. And through that, we've basically been able to really fine tune exactly what the next generation product would look like. And we've always approached the product application with a very strong focus on performance and kind of to the second point there, reliability. And we've kind of built that into the next generation product. We transitioned from a standalone tractor and implement that we built completely ourselves, and we're moving to a model that's now a traditional three-point implement that gives a lot more flexibility to the farmer in terms of operation. They'll be able to basically use their existing tractor drivers that have expertise in running the equipment already and just put them on a more advanced piece of equipment for more precision cultivation. Kind of the other thing that we've moved in the direction of is really focusing on being as lightweight as possible to give us a large range of applicability in terms of flexibility of getting into fields. Obviously, wetter fields tend to have challenges with heavier equipment. So again, our compact footprint and our lightweight design has kind of put us in a position of expanding the window that we're able to actually provide weed control through our Vulcan product going forward. I think the other thing we've always focused on as well, there's another added benefit with what we're doing with Vulcan is superior weeding quality. And I'll get into a little more of that as I get a little farther into this. But really, truly, unless you're doing a superior quality job, the work is really not worth doing to begin with. So I think we've focused very much on high degree of quality detections and then precision actuation to eradicate weeds as close to the plant as possible. And I'll talk more in detail about that in a minute. The other thing that's kind of key about Vulcan versus what we've done with our previous product, Titan, is unrivaled operator visibility. Because what we've been able to do with lighting and cameras, we've been able to eliminate the hood associated with a lot of products in the marketplace. So the operator has great visibility of what's actually happening as they're going through the field, which basically puts them in a position of evaluating quality. And if they see changes in quality, being able to address that on the fly. And kind of the other thing we've hung our hat on historically has been kind of a very strong focus on supporting grower operational success with a white glove support and service model. So that's kind of the key benefits from a product standpoint. If you look at Vulcan going forward, we do have two models. We have a single bed, which is on the right here, and the triple bed. And fundamentally, what we have seen and heard from customers is there's such a strong demand for a multiple bed unit, the triple bed, because just the ability to get more work done in a day. But we do have both models available, and most of the activity and interest is towards the triple bed at this point. If you look at kind of the key differentiators for Vulcan in the marketplace, some of the things that we really have improved have been the whole camera and lighting array. So we have a camera or a lighting array that's multiple times brighter than the sun. And so what that does is it creates a very ideal environment for capturing images that are very accurate and precise. We don't have shadows. We don't have anything that really gets outside of the ability to really capture a precise image based upon the lighting. The other thing we've also done is increased our frame per second capture of images as well. And I think one of the most unique things is we're actually, as we're traveling through the field, each plant is being detected between 5 and 20 times, depending on the speed that you're going through the field. So we're taking those images, we're pasting them together to get an even more accurate detection of what's actually going on in the field. So again, very precise detections tied to camera and lighting array. The other thing that's kind of unique, maybe not to us, but in general that we've focused on is from a detection standpoint is as many crop models as possible. We've got 20 currently. We're familiar with 40 different weed species. We work in a wide range of in all soil conditions, and we're very precise in detections in green on green or brown on green environments. And I think the other thing that's unique about our detection array is we basically have a 1-to-1 camera and lighting array to crop row ratio. So every single plant row down every single plant line down the plant row has a camera and lighting system over it. So we're actually focused on that individual line, which we believe improves our detection and accuracy and ability to actuate as well. very precise controls. Depending on the crop and the speed that you're operating, you can actually get within a ½ inch of the crop that you're weeding around. And we've built a system around doing full bed cultivation as well as precision cultivation between the plants down the row as well. On top of that, and I've kind of mentioned this earlier, when we went to the improved lighting and camera array, we were able to eliminate the hood associated with a lot of products. And again, that gives the operator the ability to see, because they're sitting right on top of the cultivator, all the activity that's happening, and they can make on-the-fly adjustments to improve quality and make changes to the overall speed and accuracy of the operation that goes through the field. And then maximum uptime, which is really tied to two different factors. Again, extending the window of time that you can get into the field with a lightweight piece of equipment, but also we've created a very modular architecture in terms of products. So if there are any issues with an individual component, it's easy to disconnect and reconnect, and the system will automatically recognize and begin operating in the same mode it was before with a new piece of hardware that may have had a challenge. So we kind of built it for maximum uptime looking at those factors. If you look at Vulcan in a little more detail, fully open, this is an image that shows kind of a rendering of the 3-bed. So the fully open cultivator frame, a lightweight folding implement that allows for easy transport down the road and from field to field, but also easy loading and transport over the road with traditional transportation methodology. I think one of the things we're also very excited about is we've created an implement that's completely wash down capable. So everything is IP69 rated, which means you can pressure wash and it's fully protected from any ingress or egress of water or dust because of the conditions that we've created in all of the connections in the device. It's built around connecting to a standard 3-point category 2 hitch. And we really have done a lot of work to make sure that we're able to do a lot of standard cultivation activities that a grower may want to do across the entire bed with their normal blades, in addition to the very precise interplant weeding that we can do as well. Through this slide in, just to kind of show an example of what we can do from a detection standpoint. So we've got an on-staff team of machine learning and AI experts that really have put us in a great position of having very precise models. But you can see from the image at the top there, it's very difficult to pick out the crop versus the weeds. But if you look at the bottom image, we've got a very precise outline of every individual crop that we're trying to weed around at a very precise center stem location that we're trying to modulate and basically weed around. So very, very focused on making sure that we get, again, accurate images, accurate detection, so we can be as precise as possible with the actuation and the weeding process. Some before and after pictures. I think they kind of tell a great story here. Top one's romaine, middle one is celery, and the bottom one is broccoli. So great before and after of the exact same space in the field to show the ability to really eradicate very precisely a high degree of the population of weeds in the field. And then finally, just a quick look at the in-cab HMI. One of the things we've done a lot of work on is making sure that when we begin the operation in the field, the operator in cab basically has to make a few decisions to begin operating. They basically are selecting the crop, the spacing of the crop, and then from there they're able to basically make adjustments to the blade opening percentages, the margins around the crop, and the speed at which the blades will actuate. And then they're able to start weeding at that point. So it's a 4 or 5 click in-cab display that the operator has to make some decisions on. And then they're ready to up and run and start weeding in the field. So that's kind of a very quick navigation through what FarmWise does and what we're bringing with our Vulcan product, which is that next generation past our original product Titan in the marketplace.
Great. Thank you, Todd. And welcome up now, Brent, for presentation.
All right. Yeah. Thanks very much to everyone who's here and will be viewing this later on. And thanks to Todd for that presentation. You know, I appreciate a lot where FarmWise is right now. Going from prototype to production on a unit is brutally hard. And you learn a lot through that process. I think it was Elon Musk who said production is hell or something like that. And I know we learned a ton going through that process. Some of our so we have a good number of units out in the field. We've had units out in the field for years. Some of our oldest units have over 6,500 hours on them going through their 6th season. Many of them are on their 2nd tractor already. A lot of our growers are using the units 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. They just change out the driver on the tractor. And, you know, a lot of the decisions that we've made over the years have really been, well, most, if not all of the decisions we've made over the years have been focused on around ROI, right? So we initially did look at the concept of doing a remote controlled or an autonomous device, but the ROI is just not there relative to what you've got to charge growers for all of that, the sensory equipment and everything else. They've already got a tractor, they've already got operators. So I think the pivot that FarmWise made from the remote controlled unit to a pull behind implement was very smart. Todd mentioned the hood. You know, the hood on our unit at least is just purely cosmetic. Growers like it, so we've left it on. I think there are some benefits that we've found that we've heard from growers, that keeping the equipment out of direct sun, because the growers use our equipment in the field for very long days, particularly during the summertime. Having the sun directly on the equipment and on the hoses and everything can take a toll on those components. So the hood kind of keeps the sun off of that. And maybe that's why some of them keep the hood on. Some of them take the hood off. But, you know, again, it's just purely cosmetic. So, but we do try to listen to what the growers are saying. And at some point we might just go ahead and take the hood off and just sell it that way. The good news is, you know, over 50% of our customers own multiple Stout units. So, you know you're doing something right when people keep coming back for seconds, especially for units in this price point. So, and we do have a lot of units out in the field. We've got units in California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, New Jersey, in the UK, over in Europe. We're sending machines down to Mexico, over to Australia. So yeah, we have a lot of units out there, and a lot of units running in all kinds of different ground, all kinds of different commodities. Our commodity count is up to about 27 at this point. And we have a full-time vision system capability. So we're constantly gathering images on new commodities and training our model on those commodities. So it's 27 today, but you know, it changes very quickly. You know, the number of units that we have out in the field was a real challenge for us. And as we had more demand, you know, coming through for various parts of the globe, actually, as well as the US, we needed to figure out the whole sales and service side, right? Because that's a challenge when a machine is having some kind of difficulty in a field, or the grower's not 100%, you know, clear on. It's usually the operator actually may have missed a setting, or you know, and we try to make our machines as bulletproof as possible, but you know, something happens on something's going to happen. You want to have somebody that's close by, right? You don't want to have to put somebody on a plane from Salinas. So that's why we joined forces with Case New Holland last December. So we are now globally distributed through New Holland dealerships worldwide. And that has been a huge game changer, because now not only do growers have a sales and service center within an hour or two from their location, but those dealers are also able to provide financing, rentals, leasing, all kinds of different programs, right? So that's been huge. And it's also been a really great platform for continuous improvement on our products. So that has taken the form of kind of digital upgrades, because similar to FarmWise, our machines are software defined, which means that even though you buy a machine today, a year from now, it's not going to be just a 1 year older cultivator. It's going to be actually more capable and more functional a year from now, because it's just a matter of pushing over digital upgrades. That means that today, when you buy the machine, it does in-row and intra-row weeding, right? But through a digital upgrade that's literally just a download to the machine, an over-the-air download, that machine is able to do thinning, it's able to do roguing, it's able to remove doubles. Like, there's all kinds of additional functionality that doesn't require a change in the mechanization of the machine. It's just purely a software change. And that also impacts, obviously, the data side to things, because our machines capture a lot of data, and the artificially intelligent model behind it can be trained to recognize anything. And so that includes pests, diseases, hydrology events, all kinds of things, right? And Adrian spoke about plant level data, and that's 100% right. Today, growers haven't even scratched the surface in terms of the intelligence that they can be gathering from their field. They just need the right tools to be gathering that data, and then the right company that understands their perspective to parse that data in a way that the grower can make sense of it. And I think Stout's got a pretty good advantage there, in that we were actually born inside of a large grower shipper operation. The first Stout prototype was built purely out of self-interest from that organization to, cultivate and weed 50,000 acres of farmland for that company. And it was only after there was additional interest from other growers, because they saw this thing and how well it worked in the field, that's what gave birth to Stout being spun out as its own entity that now sells to growers all over the world. So, I thought about going into a big presentation on the technology and everything, but if there are growers listening to this presentation, my experience has led me to understand that the growers, they just care about, does it work? Does it work? Can I run it day and night? Is it going to hold up in the field? We do field demos every week because there's nothing more powerful than just showing the machine in the field. We don't have to tell you that it works. Just get out in the field, walk behind the machine, and see if you can find a weed that it missed. That has been our #1 selling tool, hands down. And of course, we do a lot of demos following that in the grower's field, because everybody has their own particular conditions that they want to address in their particular field. So anyway, I think that's nothing new, but that's how we approach it at Stout. So we don't tend to shout a lot about our equipment. We tend to just encourage people, come and see it in the field. We don't have to convince you from that point. If you're curious about how it works, we can go into all kinds of detail about the convolutional neural net and the monolithic AI model and the machine vision cameras and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, the best plan is to just see it work at midnight, see it work in the middle of the day, see it work in your field on your commodity, and then the questions are answered. So that's that's what I've got.
Great, Brent. Thank you so much. I think we're getting some great questions in the Q&A, and I have a couple of spooled up for you guys too. And if you'll both turn on video, we'll just come in here and have sort of a panel-like conversation here. The first question from JB, who is our research scientist at the Arkansas Valley Research Center, where we're going to do our June 16th demo. So JB is excited to see the Stout machine on the ground. And to say more about that, FarmWise really wanted to be there, right, Todd? But you guys are just swamped trying to service other customers at this point.
Yeah.
So JB's question is around the cost of the equipment. The price point may be prohibitive for smaller growers. Are there incentive programs for companies or governmental programs that could help with that financial barrier? And maybe also speak to how you've seen traditional lenders lending on this. Brent, you want to go first?
Yeah. So I can tell you the machines that we are sending over to Australia are actually participating in a governmental program. And the growers that are involved in that, they get use of the machine, but the government has the ability to use the machine for demonstration purposes as well. So those machines are going to see a lot of action all over the place. I know that the UK has similar programs. I know Europe has similar programs. I don't know about programs like that in the US, but I do know that, for smaller growers, that's where on our side, the partnership with New Holland has been huge, because the New Holland dealers can rent the machines, they can finance the machines, lease the machines. Like, they have such an incredible ability to build a program around the financial structure that works for the grower. That's just something we as Stout just could not do. And so, yeah, I don't think there is a situation to date that they have not been able to address for a grower.
That's great. Todd, thoughts on that one?
Yeah, if I could add on just a little bit more. And one of the things that I think all of us know about farmers is they're creative. And even for these crops that may only have a 5 or 6 week window where weeding is possible, and it's really a very short weeding season. The growers that we've been talking with in those short season areas are looking at ways to spread that cost with other growers. They're looking at making sure that they're running that equipment 24/7 in that short window of time to accomplish all the work that they need to do, but also make sure that they get the full value out of the equipment. And when you start doing the return on investment calculations with those growers based upon displacing hand weeding costs and some of the other things that they're defraying from a cost perspective, it still ends up being in a range of ROI that's sub 3 years, which in a lot of cases is not is a very positive return on investment people aren't going to shy away from. I think the other side of things too, and I think it was kind of chatted about a little bit here, is there is a service opportunity, and we have multiple entities that are stepping in to try and look at the next generation of what service looks like for smaller growers with our technology.
Are there things in this too, you guys, that traditional lenders who are just unfamiliar with this technology, are there things that they get hung up on that need to be explained? I'm thinking like, I don't know, Chase, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, are they lending? I know some farmers may not be banking with them, but just crude examples. But
yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, and I was just talking to somebody yesterday about this. It's very similar to a consumer going into an auto dealership, right? I need a car. I'm in the dealership. You convince me that, this is the car that I want, but I need it financed, right? And if that dealer says, yeah, let's sit down, let's go ahead and write it up. And we'll have our financing team talk to you. That's a very different situation from, well, yeah, sorry, we don't do that. So go talk to your bank and figure that out. And, let us know that customer's not coming back, right? So there are barriers in place with these traditional lenders that are huge when it comes to a grower. It just can present a massive hassle, right? And they're super busy, they're super pulled, they're not overstaffed. So having to turn around and make a special effort to reach out to their banker, which unfortunately bankers' hours, right? These guys are not working 24/7. So from a grower's perspective, that can just be an enormous inconvenience. So I think the lenders that want to be in the ag space have got to do a better job in stepping into the shoes of the grower and making those financing options more available to the grower, or else lose out to the dealers who can make the deal right there in the dealership.
Well, I also think it's incumbent to some degree on the manufacturer to build relationships with traditional ag lenders to take and to educate them on the value and the opportunity. Because the reality is, this is a play that the farmer has to make. With the cost, availability, and quality of labor continuing to be at risk for these farmers, I think there's a great story to be told if we educate the finance side of the industry and take some of the burden off the farmer in terms of having them do the education of their traditional lenders as well. Because I think we're in a better position to kind of go through the process of laying out the dynamics of the equipment and its value in the marketplace. Obviously, the farmer themselves has their own experience that can add to that, but I think fundamentally there is some responsibility of manufacturers to educate the lending community.
But I want to ask one more financial question and then get into some that I'm seeing in the chat and some that I've scripted out too, more about to some of Brent's, comments about, how it works. But on the flip side of it, new technologies, we could imagine long ago, some of the first combines, maybe there were challenges as a farm was in an exit phase of selling equipment. This is the next ag revolution, seeing this equipment, coming into the marketplace. And we may not be there yet, other than just to prognosticate on it, to know life cycle on this. But at the point of reselling this equipment, how do we know anything about what the market would be? Farmer needs to liquidate this.
And it touches back to what I was saying before. Like, this is not a standard cultivator, right? I buy a standard cultivator, and a year from now, I've got an old standard cultivator. It's a year-old standard cultivator. These machines get smarter the longer that you own them, more capable the longer that you own them. So the value of these machines actually increase over time versus decrease. So if you're balancing the wear and tear on a machine with the capability of the machine, I obviously it's a new space. So and we don't have anybody out there trying to sell the Stout units that they own. They might be trying to buy more, but they're not busy trying to sell them. So I can't tell you what that market will look like, but I do believe that the intelligent implements are going to hold their value far better than what we've seen in farm implements previously.
Yeah, I would agree with the comment too about their value increasing. I think there's two ways to look at that. One is with the constant rise in cost of labor, there's a value increase based upon that. But if you look at what we've focused on doing, there's multiple generations coming forward of additional capability that will be built into the product, with minor upgrades in cameras or minor upgrades in this and that allow there to be so much more data capture that is intelligent, that comes with valued insights for the farmer that don't relate to weed control, that I think make the implement itself even more valuable over time, because it becomes a broader range data capture piece of equipment that allows more intelligence and more specific decisions on farm that aren't as capable of being made on a day-to-day basis with just a human eye and limited field contact.
That'll be amazing to see that phase when farmers are ready to embrace that. Want to get into some of the efficacy or just impact of the machines, and then get to JB's question here of like, what happens when it breaks? I think so. First, growers that when I was at the demos where I first saw your equipment in Fresno this last October, many of the growers around me were asking, well, how many acres per hour? So that helps them understand, impact on a farm scale, how many operators they're going to need and what time period. So how does that look, Todd, with your machine? Acres per
Yeah,
hour?
so there's a lot of variation in the acres per hour based upon the spacing of the crop and the number of plant lines. So that's kind of one of the defining factors, and also the soil conditions. But we're talking about speeds that we're able to, or acres per hour in the neighborhood of 2.5 to 3 acres per hour with our triple bed, and exceeding that significantly with some really widely spaced crops. But that's kind of the range that we're looking at 2.5 to 3 for the more traditional high density crops that are currently being weeded in the Salinas Valley by our product. So again, there are a lot of conditions that change those factors, but we've kind of targeted that window and see results that we're able to get there in our traditional crops. We have some that we can run up to twice that based upon how wide the spacing is on the crop. And really, I mean, that throughput's critical, right? You've got to really get throughput to drive. I mean, there's X number of acres that have to be done in a day, whether it's being done by a hand crew or being done by precision robotic cultivator. And we've got to make sure we conform or exceed those numbers, and we're very comfortable with being able to do that.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, two answers to that question. One is the limitations are mechanical, not software based, right? Our AI model has been tested at 20 miles per hour with zero degradation in its ability to identify the individual weeds and the crop. So it's not about the AI model, it's about how fast can you move with these mechanical blades going in between the plants. And that's exactly what Todd said. Like, that's based on the soil. If it's harder soil and you're moving fast, you're gonna throw dirt, right? So you wanna check that. And you can also, behind me, I guess over here, you can see, that's a shot of our touch screen that's on the side of our device. And the little black arrows are kind of a touch way of determining how close you want the blades to come to the plant. And that's going to determine the speed in the field, right? Is how aggressive do you want the blades to be, the AI model to be, when it's taking out the weeds, or do you want to stand off a bit from the crop, at which point the model is going to determine if that weed is closer to the plant than what you said you want it to actuate, it's gonna stay open. So, but the truth is, if you're in like a broadacre crop or something that, a row crop of some kind, and you want to move fast through that field, you can set the blades just at the width of the plant line itself and just burn rubber. You can go very, very fast through the fields, and you'll wipe out everything along the plant line. You just won't go in between because it's physically impossible. So the limitations are mechanical, not software based.
Gotcha. So I'm imagining a scenario, grower is excited, has bought this equipment, never used it before, wants to get their most advanced tractor operator out there and weeding acres as quickly as they can. How long does it take to get from delivery of product to farm to success in the field? Is that a day, 2 days, hours?
I mean, I can only speak, yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
Oh, so I can only speak to our experience, right? So when we do a demo at a grower, we show up with the machine, we set the machine in the field, we show them how to set up the machine on the side of the, on the touch screen. They get it running and we leave. I hate to say it, but that's it, right? They use their operator in their tractor, and we leave, and we come back the next day, or whenever it's convenient. But that is the message that we're sending, is we don't need to be here to babysit this unit. And that's just that's a benefit of having many units out in the field for years, is we've kind of worked through the kinks and we've made it as super simple and bulletproof as possible. so that we don't have to babysit the thing. And it's not lasers, right? This is mechanical cultivation. So a lot of the, if there's troubleshooting to be done, we can troubleshoot it honestly by just dialing in here from Stout and do a quick system check. The AI model will tell us what's going on if there is something, but we've also built it so that the connectors have LED lights on them, right? So you can lift the hood, take a quick visual check, and you can see if you've got a loose connector or whatever. Again, that's just from years of a grower focused on, I've got an operator, he probably doesn't speak English. He's got, a limited amount of time to deal with the equipment that he's trying to operate. He needs to just be able to glance at this stuff and tell whether if we're 100% or if there's something going wrong. So it's built to be as bulletproof as possible.
Yeah, I think that the thing I would add to that is, when you look at ag technology, and there's various levels of sophistication in a wide array of technologies that farmers can purchase for on-farm implementation, whether it's automation or weeding technologies or irrigation controls. I think what we've tried to do is build as much redundancy into the system itself so it manages the activities in the field, so the operator doesn't have to change their behavior. If you have to change somebody's behavior, you're creating a barrier to adoption, you're creating a barrier to efficient use, and you're setting that farmer who is invested in that technology up for potential failure or low return on or slow return on investment. So we've kind of built a lot of the things into the system that allow the operator to get to the field, adjust a couple of things manually, make 4 clicks in the cab and start operating. I think the other side of it is you've got to have a very keen diagnostic system that triggers either activities in the cab if there's something that's critical, or at least makes those aware at the company at FarmWise or the farm manager aware of impending challenges that may need to be addressed at the end of the workday. So it's really building in not only upfront the capability to not have to change behavior, but also build the diagnostics so that the system can basically predict any potential challenges that may come down the road.
That's great. Well, in our final minutes here, I want to give you each about 60 seconds and just offer any closing remarks on this. Brent, you want to go first?
Yeah, all I can say is I don't think there's any question that this is the direction everything is going, right? So you can invest in lower dollar non-intelligent equipment, right? But you're literally mortgaging the future in doing so, because the equipment that's coming out now, the intelligent equipment, is going to continue to add more value over time to your operation versus just age in place. And there's been that's been the past calculus, is our stuff just gets old and then we retire it or we sell it or we trade it out or whatever. There's a new age coming, and it's here. This equipment is available to buy now. So I guess what I would encourage the growers to do is do the math on, not based on the traditional calculus, but based on the future calculus of the benefit of an ever increasing valuable unit to your operation, and what is that worth?
Great, thank you. Todd?
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I think is really unique about where we are at this point in time in this particular segment is there's a built-in ROI that's easy to capture for the farmer. The products have been built to operate precisely, to operate in a way that's simple, that doesn't require a lot of behavior change. It's got embedded savings. And a lot of times when you talk about technology products, there's a long list of things that people want to put into an ROI calculator, but we're really talking about reducing hand weeding costs here. So there's embedded savings, I think, is a great, and the fact that there's not a significant behavior change requirement for the traditional cultivator, I think this sets up the farm for not only adoption of this type of technology, but I think it establishes a potential going forward breaking into new barriers, new areas that are necessary for investment in ag technology for farmers to be successful in the future.
Great. Guys, thank you so much for making time to be with us today.
Thank you,
And want
Adrian.
to
Thank
thank
you.
our viewing audience, and join us June the 16th if you're viewing this before then in Rocky Ford, Colorado, to see a first ever demonstration of this technology. Have a great day. Thank you all so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.